as the recipe has promised. I'm going to put a link down below to the Kneady Homesteader. She is the one that I got this recipe from. It is actually based on a King Arthur 101 recipe. She, Heather with the Kneady Homesteader, did add in the potato flakes and the egg. It does give it a richer and more moist texture to it. I think you'll really like it. I hope you give it a chance. And you know what? Check out her other videos. She has got some wonderful videos up there. Every time I'm waiting on my bread to rise, I decided to make some butter rolls that is also from the Kneady Homesteader. She calls it my soft butter roll recipe. So I'm going to give that a try. So I was experimenting a little bit just to make sure that my yeast was good. This is what happened with it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's just like a 1/4 cup of water and 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast, which equals 2 teaspoons of instant yeast. And I put in 1 teaspoon of sugar into this. So what I'm going to do, this is another 1 1/4 cup of warm water. I'm going to just pour that in here. And I'm going to sneak in front of you a minute and grab my spatula here so I can go ahead and put the yeast in here. I hated to waste the yeast, and actually I've never made dinner rolls, so this is a first for me, and hers looked so good when I was watching the video. Put this down here in the sink. I'm just going to there's a little bit that's on the plate as you saw. I'll put those in there. Let me wash my hand off here, which my hands are always freshly washed whenever I start any of this. So I've got, let's see, I need to get, it calls for 3 tablespoons of sugar. And you know what? I put my sugar back. Hang on just one second. I'm back, got my sugar. I've got 1 teaspoon in that already. It calls for 3 tablespoons. So I'm going to do 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, and about 1/2 a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more, because there's 3 teaspoons and 1 tablespoon. So then I'm going to do the flour next. Move the sugar out of the way here. And this is all-purpose flour. And that's what it actually calls for the bread flour. It calls for 3 cups. So I'm going to do 3 3/4 cups of the bread flour. So, gosh darn. I used up way too much of my dishes today. Let me dry off my cup here, or my 1 cup measuring cup here real quick. And so here goes. It does not say, well, I'm not going to take the time to sift this. I probably normally would. So there's 1, a little over 1. 2. And this one, the recipe, the way it's written, it's not done in a mixer or a bread machine. I got more flour right back here, just in case I needed it. Three. And 3/4. Okay, so that is in. And then we are going to put in 1/4 cup of dry milk, which is right here. I'm going to sprinkle that. And then it calls for potato flakes. And yeah, I'll show you my can. I just think this is like the neatest can. It says Idahoan mashed potatoes. This was actually my mom's, and it actually came with mashed potatoes in it. And she just kept it and kept refilling it. And she brought it whenever she moved in with me, and I've just kept it too. Part of it's sentimental reasons. Another reason is it seals really good. Let me put this back here away. And then 4 tablespoons soft butter. I actually have it up here in the microwave once again. and I'm going to put it in it. Get it here. And good butteriness. And then 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt. So let me grab my salt over here. And this is a 1/2 teaspoon. And I may not put that extra 1/4 in it. I may just do 1. I'm not a huge salt fan, but I gotta admit that adding some salt to it really does help with the flavor most of the time. Sometimes it doesn't, but majority of the times it does. Put that back over there. And then you just get 1 egg. Hang on just 1 egg, and I am going to crack it into a dish because, well, that's the way I was raised. Because if it's a bad egg, it doesn't go right into your mixture. And these are farm fresh eggs. A friend of mine that has chickens keeps me supplied in them. So there goes the egg into it. And this is a Danish dough whisk. They are really super nice to have, and actually I even use it with my sourdough. For the longest time I thought that you couldn't use metal in with your sourdough mixture, not the mixture, but the starter. And I've been using this to mix it up. It does a really good job with it, and actually my sourdough starter is doing just fine. So this just makes it really easy to mix up, and my hands aren't quite as dirty. Oops, let me move my coffee cup over here. Get this mixed up, and then I'll flour my stove here. Get rid of my water cup. And then you knead it for about 5 to 7 minutes. You let it rise for an hour. And then you cut it and roll it into balls. And then you let those balls rise for 1 hour. Then it goes in 2. So you really have to kind of plan in advance for this. Okay, I think that's going to be good enough to come out onto a floured surface here. Get this off of here. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing. Just taking this off here. It makes it easier to wash whenever you do this. And you got all that little itty bitty. That may just be the little extra bit that you need. Okay, it's over here in the sink. Let me get some of the flour out. I was all set to put it away. I had it all closed up. So let me just sprinkle some here. And this was cleaned off whenever I started working with this. The stove was. Oops. Flour on my hands here. Okay, so whenever you knead, people have different ways of doing it, but for me, the best way is to bring it in and then push it, turn it, fold it, push it, and just keep doing that. And that gets it really well mixed up. You can resurface or redistribute the flour on here. And I am going to do this for, well, at least 5 minutes and however long up until 7 minutes or so it takes to get it to a pliable. And I will bring you back and show you what that pliable dough looks like. It's where the gluten is forming whenever it gets pliable like that. So I'll be back in just for just a second and show you here that this is really starting to form, because I'm doing this and I'm not really getting anything on my hands. So I still have 3 minutes to go. I will bring you back then. So actually I've been doing this about 6-7 minutes, and I wanted to show you that whenever it will separate like this, that what you do is you just kind of tuck it down under, and you come in from the other sides, and you form this nice little bowl. And what I'm gonna do, see how nice that looks now? Not bad on the bottom either. Just do this a couple more times. There we go. Okay, then I am going to, even though I do have like the dough in here, I'm going to spray this. And one thing I didn't know, this is from at Sam's Club, but whenever this sprays out, whenever you level it off, you get the wide spray. If you hold it like this, it's a straight stream. So just a little education. I did not know that. I have been using other types of sprays in the past, and they didn't do that. So what I'm going to do is put this in here and just kind of turn it around a little bit, or flip it in it, so that the grease is covering, the oil, sorry, is covering all the sides. Then I'm going to go find another towel to put over this, and we let it rise for 1 hour. Then we're going to roll it out, and I'm going to use my stove top again. That's one good thing about a flat top stove, is you have extra space to work on, and it does really well to roll out dough on. But we'll roll it out, shape it into balls, then we let it rise for 1 more hour, and then we bake it at 350 for 25 to 30 minutes. And then you take melted butter, or you can take a stick of butter and just go over the tops of it, and that will give it that extra shininess to it and butteriness to it. So I'll bring you guys back in an hour. So if you can see the dough, it's been an hour. It's more than doubled in size. So what I'm going to do is, whoops, before I do that, I'm going to punch it down. Like that. And then we're going to roll it out. We're going to do basically the same that we did with the, of course, this is a different video. I just made white bread using the Pullman pan. So what we're going to do is just roll or push this out. Just kind of make this kind of rectangular here. It's a little tacky, but it's not actually sticking to my hands, and it's pulling up easy from the stove here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is divide this approximately in half. Once again, I encourage you to go to the Kneady Homestead and to watch her video on it. She is so much more professional than I am. Just put this in half too. And then I'm just going to divide this up. And you can make these any size that you want to. You can even make them big enough to use them as hamburger buns, if you want to. I'm just going to do I'm going to stick with the dinner rolls for tonight. And some people, excuse me, kind of hoarseness tonight with my throat. Some people will throw whenever they put the towel over to get these to rise, they will put a damp tea towel or a damp towel over it. So what I did was pinch the sides together and just kind of tuck it under like this. Here, you know what? Let me move some of this here so that you can see what's going on. And then you just kind of roll it to really try and make a nice smooth ball with it. You can make big dinner rolls, small dinner rolls. Here, do you see how nice and smooth and round that is? So it's going to go over here on the parchment paper on my cookie sheet. So you just pinch the sides together, and then you just kind of tuck it under so it's more round. And you know, going back, I think I may have said that you don't use a mixer with this. You can use a mixer with a dough hook on it. Just put your ingredients in the order that they are in the recipe, and then you put it on low to get them to mix, and then you let the machine knead it for 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, so I hope you get the idea with this. I'll finish doing this one, and then I'll bring you back after I get them all done, and we're going to get them to rise. Just get this one done. The idea is to get it to look so that you really can't see a seam. Kind of like what you do with cookie dough, as a matter of fact. Okay, we'll be back soon. This one is a little bit larger than what the other ones were. So I think what I'm going to try and do is make more of a hamburger size and see how it comes out. One thing I wanted to tell you is that the cooking time for this is you know what? I've got the other recipe up. Let me take a look here. Okay, so this last piece was bigger than what the others were. So what I'm going to try and do is make a hamburger bun out of it and see how it turns out. So this is going to rest for another half hour. And my bread's almost done, so you may hear a beep in here. I'm just going to kind of smash it, and not smash it, but just kind of pat it a little bit. Give it some little love pats there. And one thing I did want to tell you before I forget it is this, and I have already mentioned that this recipe is off of the Kneady Homesteader. It's Heather that does that. She says she's not a professional baker. I think she is a professional baker, especially compared to me. But that this is actually a King Arthur 101 white bread or roll recipe. Not white bread, but roll recipe. And she added in the potato flakes and the egg because it gives it more elasticity and more moisture. That's what the potato flakes do. And actually the eggs do too. So if you're looking at the King Arthur recipe, it's going to be the same except for those two things. So I'm going to get these covered up. We'll get the other bread out. You know what? Let me go ahead and take it out. I may have to put you on hold. Get the bread out. Then I've got another full cookie sheet of the rolls. Whoops, I don't want to take that into the oven with me. Let's bring this out. I'm going to close this up here a second. And we're just going to get maybe a little peek at it and see. Okay, it's not done yet. So I'm going to put it back in. This was the least amount of time for it. And actually, I think I said it was like 30 to 35 minutes. It's going to depend upon your stove, of course. But the actual cooking, according to the recipe, is 20 to 30 minutes on it. So I did the 20 minutes just to be on the safe side. because none of us want burnt bread. Look at my towel over there. I'm going to put this back in, get my dinner rolls covered up, and whenever I'm ready to take them out, I will bring you guys back real quick. One thing, I'm sorry, I'm reaching in front of you. I should already have this. One thing I'm going to do that she used avocado spray, or not avocado, she used olive oil spray for, is just to spray this so that it doesn't stick to the towel. And I'm going to dampen the towel this time for them to raise. So mine is actually baked for about 40 minutes at 350. I'm just going to slide the lid back and we'll check it. Oops. I'm going to slide the lid back and we'll just check it and see. You know, I think this could actually be left in there for a little bit longer. Although it's got a hard crust to it. It certainly didn't rise up the way that it should have with it. And that's probably, I'm going to guess, definitely something that I did to it. But I think I'll put that back in for just a little bit. I mean, I can still use it to eat. There's no doubt about that. So I will be back. I'm just going to do a handheld video to show you how much the buns have risen. I think they look great, and hopefully they will do well. I'm debating. I think I'm going to do an egg whitewash on them. It'll give them that shiny crust to it. So I'm going to do that. I'm not going to film it, but then I'll get them in the oven, and whenever they're done, I'll show you. This is the first tray of the dinner rolls out of the oven, and I gotta tell you, I think they look really fantastic. I could have done a little bit better job on the egg wash on them, but I'm gonna get them over here on this rack, get them to cool, and then we will open one up. I've got the tray, the sheet in the oven that has got the hamburger bun on it, so we'll take a look at that whenever it's done. Okay, here are the dinner rolls out. This is the hamburger one. I just got it out, so it's still really warm. But look how nice and big that is. I don't think I'm going to be buying hamburger buns anymore whatsoever. And let me see, what did I do? Here's my knife. I am going to cut open one of these dinner rolls. And excuse the dog in the background. This is what they look like. I think they look really, really good. They have got such a great crumb in there. They are so soft. This one has already cooled off. Yeah, I know. Bentley wants one too. To be honest with you, I had one already and it was so good. The only thing I think I would do different with these is maybe, I left out some of the salt, is maybe go ahead and add the salt in. But, still good. And it's kind of it has a little sweet taste to it. So what I might do is, I really like this recipe. Really cut back on the sugar in it and put garlic in it and make garlic rolls, or maybe try and make them into garlic knots. That would be really good to do. But I'll leave the recipe, follow the recipe that I put in, and not basically what I've told you. Go by what's put in. There were a few things that I was incorrect on. It's correct in the recipe. So I hope you all have fun. Oh my gosh, look at this. I got little warts on some of them. That's interesting. Y'all take care, and I will catch you later. I'm going to go eat the rest of this. The finished product. Hot dinner rolls with a little hot mango jelly on them that is home canned. And for dinner tonight, I am having a hamburger, just to try out this hamburger bun. That is egg wash that's on there, and this part is where I did not get the egg wash on. So next time I will be more careful and go around all the way. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please just hit the like button, subscribe, ding that little bell to get the notifications. And if you have any suggestions on what you want to see me make, put them down in the comments. Y'all take care, have a great day, and just keep moving forward.